So it's important for us to de-woo-woo, demystify what perceiving the fullness of reality is. Okay? The fullness of reality, I began in the other video to explain, is that in the fullness of reality sits what humans perceive as the future. And people perceive reality from a very limited and myopic perception, because human beings, we have been ordered around, eventually I'll do a series on this. I've kind of talked to you about my own conspiracy theories, and I've been honest, like, I don't have the data yet to be able to conclusively tell you, but I know specifically that humans have been tinkered with. You are currently, as I'm 100% sure that humans are currently undergoing the evolution that we have consistently gone through. Although humans perceive, because of their lack of a depth of perception, they think, okay, over millions of years, evolution looked like this. And that has caused people to miss, like, they can't see the forest for the one tree that they're staring at, and for the few trees that they're staring at, and so they really miss the beauty of the evolution that goes on. And part of the tinkering that's going on, I've talked to you about, is that there is a concerted effort right now to take humans back to an original design, because humans weren't meant to be as blind as they were, and by meant. That's a relative statement, because who are you talking about, and whose initiative was at play? Because if you're a thinking person, you realize what I'm saying. Because I start talking and people think that I may be talking about the God that they worship, the deity, the whatever, the belief system that they worship. But no, it's a lot. What I'm talking about is above that. It's above what humans have decided is God. I think that's a good way to say it. It's above, what I'm referring to is above and beyond what human beings consider God. And that is a whole other teaching series. I'm going to pause on that. Because as I was telling you guys, I just consider myself, I'm not a self-aggrandizing person who is trying to manipulate you into anything. I'm just trying to help people to be more sober, because people who claim to be predictors of, I guess, anything, whether it's the future or whatever, they're harming people. And so I want to give people tools to be able to, one, understand, what being a far-seeing person could mean. Like today, in short, I could say, we'll be looking at distortion, and I'll be giving you a basic structure for what being a predictor or far-seeing person is, like as a human being, like living in this current state of being, what that is. And that all sounds really weird, so I'm going to try to keep from using that kind of a language. But I'm trying to give you a foundation to help people to stop being so flim-flammed and scammed by a vibe. There are people all over TikTok who are just like, here are my crystals, and here am I, and they have no source. They are connected to nothing. They have access to nothing. And if your ability to perceive is, if you have just a little, just a scintilla of an ability to of discernment, you're like, oh, they don't have any connection to the source of all things. They don't have any connection. They're just selling you something. And there's nothing, I'm not saying there's something wrong with selling crystals, stones, elements, helping people because to a certain extent, stones, gems, elements, and etc. Are kind of like spiritual naturopathy? When people they don't use petroleum-based or just pharmaceutical-based remedies. You go drink your chamomile, your mint tea, and I've started doing a lot of that. And I'm gonna tell you that. I think we've all perceived it, right? Just by basically looking at the things that the average human can see is that pharmaceutical industry and pretty much all industries are they are selling you a product that creates a problem and then selling you a solution knowing that they created the problem. And then marking that solution up at such a high price that you then are perpetually sick and you're forced into another industry which shoves you back at pharmaceutical industry because that's the only way they consider healing people is through pharmaceuticals, which then shoves people out into death because they can't afford the remedy, right? But I'm such a yapper. Let me get back to what I was talking about. And I apologize. Sometimes you got to just hit the fast forward button. So what I wanted to talk to you about today was distortion, because a lot of people humans do not realize, some do, sober ones do, aware ones, awake and aware ones. Like, think it not strange that there is a concerted effort by conservatives to put you to sleep. Think it not. Do not think that that is strange. Be aware of the okey doke. Understand that conservatism fights your independence. They don't want you to be independent, don't want you to be knowledgeable, because they want you to be slaves. And the enslavement of Black people, if you would understand and research that history, what they are doing now is what they have always been doing, even when before they slither their way into North America, South America, all around the world, and started instituting mind control. And just in North America, the kind of mind control that created the slave and the kind of systems that created those slaves. Well, same thing they're doing now. They don't want you to be awake and aware. And they demonize it. Even in Christian churches, they demonize it because they fought so hard to create systems that enrich them. They don't want that done. They fold that into the religion. So the religion reinforces their ability to exploit you, make riches off it, and they call that the blessings of their God. But anyway, so today we're going to be talking about distortion. And I'm gonna begin to unravel the mystery, the mysticism around the ability to just perceive. And so I'm going to be talking about it today in very general terms, in order to, in very simple terms, in a very simple way to help the basic average person understand, like, what the heck is going on? Like, what is to predict? What is to perceive? How is that being utilized? Now, that all those three things require a longer series, and it requires a more exhaustive presentation that I don't think you guys even want to sit through. I'm not going to give you the history of this and the history that you can you've got a phone in your hand in which you're watching me. You can go look that up, and you should really begin to look at that subject matter, subject by subject, seer by seer, hearer by hearer. And what I'm describing is, study the history of clairvoyance, study the history of all the clairs, psychic predictions. I've started this year. I was studying African prophets. South African ones, the white ones, looking at how there's one specific one, how they were able to access the future in order to reinforce apartheid, and how their Christianity, and let me not make it too complicated. So basically, there were self-described Christian prophets. There was one particular who made some accurate, allegedly, because this is the way they framed it, accurate predictions about battles that were going to take place against white South Africans, Blacks trying to perceive the Africans trying to free themselves from apartheid. And let me finish this in video number 3.